Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be talking about 5 series that I keep pushing off and why. I thought this would be an interesting video to do so that you guys can get a little bit of insight into my mind, my brain, how I think about things. With that said, let's just jump straight into this list of books that I just keep putting off. So first up, we're going to start real strong here, and I'm going to grab all of your guys' attention real fast. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. And for the record, I like this cover. This set of covers that they did, I like this set, okay? I've seen people say that they're ugly, and I think this is really pretty. So I just want to get that out there, all right? So the reason why I do keep pushing this series off is because it's Sanderson, to be quite honest with you guys. I have had one experience reading Sanderson's work, and that would be the White Sand graphic novel. I only read the first 2 because at the end of the second volume, the art style changed and I didn't like the art style. And the story honestly was trash. I personally just did not think White Sand was good. And the thing is I read White Sand before I actually knew how popular Sanderson was, because it was around the time when I was getting back into reading after not having read for close to 8 years. So I had no idea who the Sanderson person was. Like, I was just like, ooh, graphic novel with like some cool looking dudes in like the desert or whatever. Like, this sounds fun. It was trash though. So I was like, okay, we're going to avoid that author. And then I come to find out he's apparently a big deal. So a lot of it really is though, because there's just a lot of hesitation because of how big Sanderson is. And honestly, the fandom, they irritate me a little bit. Not in the manner of them constantly screaming, you have to read it. It's how they try and get people to read his work. They just tell, he's such a great guy. His writing is so amazing. He's such a good writer. He makes really cool worlds. And I'm like, cool, bro. Can you tell me about the stories? They're really cool. Like, I actually, in a Discord, had to get them to actually, like, break down why I should read Mistborn, which was why I ended up buying Mistborn, because it does sound like it would be something I would be interested in. But that is the reason why I keep pushing it off, is because it's Sanderson, and I'm just like, ugh, that's a heavy name. And then if I end up not liking it, it's like the world is ending or something. Like, that's how it feels sometimes. So I'm just a little hesitant on it. But I own the first book, so eventually, right? The next one on the list would be The Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski. So I actually own the entire set. I own those new hardbacks. They're so pretty. Oh my god, I love all the cover art on them. Beautiful, perfect. I also own the paperbacks where it has the video game art where everybody like trashes on them, and personally I think they're fantastic. Okay, and this is my Illumicrate special edition of The Last Wish. So like, you're sitting here like, oh my god, that girl has like the whole set. She must have read the series. She must love it. I have read none. The only thing that I have that I know about The Witcher is the TV series. I own the video game Witcher 3. I've just never gotten around to installing it and playing it. But yeah, the only thing that I know about Witcher is the TV show. But the reason why I keep putting this series off is because more and more I hear a lot of very mixed reviews, and those mixed reviews leave me going, I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. I don't know. And then I hear some like very like disappointing things about how like female characters are treated and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, like at this point, like when I initially, picked up the books and everything, I based it off of, having watched the first season of the TV series, and I was like, oh my god, I can totally get behind this. Like, these books, like, I'm gonna read the crap out of those books. And then I bought the whole, I got the whole set and everything, and then I never got around to reading it, and then they made those new special hardbacks, and I got those and still never read it. And then now I'm actually like paying attention to a lot of people having read it, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that in book form or not. So at this point, I guess it's more like fear, because I just don't know what to expect, because there's such a like divide. I feel like it's either you really, really like it, or you like aspects of it, but for the most part, you're like, about it. Like, that's how it feels. So, I don't know where I'm going to land in it, but at some point, I'm going to tackle the series. The third book on this list goes to The Expanse by James S.A. Corey. So, the only thing that's honestly keeping me from reading this series is there is something in me that tells me I am going to enjoy this series a lot. I don't know what it is. I've never watched the show. I know nothing about it besides the fact that it's sci-fi and it's really long. I only own Leviathan Wakes. I own this hot pink baby boy. But it's the only one that I own, and like part of me is like, I want to read it, but then I'm like, but what if I end up like super loving it and I don't have the next book and I can't continue on? Like, so part of my brain is like, just wait for the whole set and buy the whole thing and then read it. So I honestly think that's what's going to happen. I know they did just release the next 2 books in these matching designs, so love that. Just got to get a hold of them, hopefully. But yeah, I'm not exactly intimidated by this. I haven't heard mixed reviews on it for the most part. Everybody who reads it, they seem to enjoy it to a level of some sort. And I just know, like, something in me tells me I'm going to like this. But yeah, I think the only reason I've been putting it off is just because I only own the first book, and if I end up loving the first book, I'm gonna want to like jump into the next one. So I think that's pretty much it. The fourth series on this list will be The First Law by Joe Abercrombie. So I have experience with reading Abercrombie's work. I have read his Shattered Sea series, and I personally really like that series, and it gets crapped on a lot by his fans. Like, they're always like, that's not his good one. His good one is First Law. And I'm like, okay, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. So it's definitely not like I'm not intimidated because it's Abercrombie. What's actually intimidating about it is the fact of how well loved it is. And I think it's one of those things where I'm like, ooh, the hype around this one. Cause like, I feel like the minute I say, hey, I'm reading The First Law, like, there's gonna be like, oh my God. Like, they're just gonna like come in droves. Like, the little Abercrombie fans are just gonna come in droves and be like, oh my God, you have to know this character and that character, and you have to fall in love with this one, and you gotta be like this, and you have to like, and I just, whew. You know, like, I feel like that's probably what's gonna happen. And so like, it's a little intimidating. And plus, with it being so well loved, like, I want to love it too. And then if I end up not loving it, it's gonna be like, you like the Shattered Sea, but you don't like The First Law. And I'm like, because like, that's a very big possibility. And I'm like, because it scares me a little bit, because like, already I get like people like, whenever I say I like the Shattered Sea, they're just kind of like, what? Did you read his better stuff? And I'm like, no. So that's pretty much it. I'm a little intimidated, to be honest. It's intimidating. Then the last and final series on here goes to this one. This Malazan, however y'all say. I don't think Malazan sounds good personally. I think that sounds stupid. I need to get that out. I'm so sorry. Just whenever I hear people say Malazan, I'm just like, I don't like that. Malazan sounds better. But yeah, this series. So I don't even own the whole thing. I own random pieces of it here and there. I don't even, like, I think I have the first 2 books for sure. I don't even know what number this one is, because it just says A Tale of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. And I'm like, cool. Glad I know where that takes place in the series. It's got like a lion looking dude on the cover though, which is kind of cool. Like, that was partly why I was picking up the series. Well, my friend was picking them up for me, but I was like, I like the cover art on these. Like, these are pretty cool. Like, I don't know, this lion, beast, tiger looking dude looks kind of cool. But then as I became more immersed in the book community, I realized that this series, the fandom a lot of it is the fandom, honestly. You know, the Malazan dude bros, you know, they make it unappealing to want to read, honestly. The fact that, like, there's this whole, you have to be smart enough to understand it thing, and I'm just like, it's a book, bro. Like, can you calm down? You know, and then like hearing some of them be like, oh, you don't really understand everything until you've read the first book like 500 times. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not doing that. Okay, how long am I going to do that? But but you know, it's just like there's this very like high pretentious kind of attitude around this book series that a very loud portion of the fandom just screams about all the time. Also, like, it's one of those ones where, like, after I see it appear on, like, the 1 millionth video of best fantasy series you just have to read, but then you have to make sure that you're smart enough to read it and understand it, that I'm just like, do I want to read this or do I not? Like, at this point, I think I'm just, like, confused with myself, because, like, I told my friend stop buying them at the moment, because, you know, she was getting them all through the thrift stores for me, because, you know, I was like, I didn't know if I was gonna like it or not, and like they're cheap over where she's at, and I was like, okay, you know what, we're gonna stop. I was like, whatever number, like we're just gonna stop right now. Maybe when I feel like I want to tackle it, I will, but at this point there's a big part of me that's just like, I don't even want to bother with it. Like, I don't even want to bother with it because I get so bothered by how it's talked about. Like, it's so bothersome to me sometimes, because like it's on such a high pedestal that, like, if you dare to say anything negative about it, like, you will be harassed for it. Like, I've seen, you know, other reviewers be harassed for not liking elements of this series or whatever, and I'm just like, do I want to deal with that or not? But then again, I remember I have an older sister, and like, I'm really good at ignoring people, so like, I guess I could, and they could harass me, and I'd just be like, cool story, bro. Good for you, bro. Drive up the algorithm for me. I don't, you know, so like at this point, I don't know. I think it's just more like confusion on if I even want to read this or not. I really, really don't know at this point. There's just so much about the talk around it and everything. So maybe it'll happen. Maybe I'll just be like, no, and just go drop them off at the used bookstore again. I don't know right now. And I don't know if, like, there's ever going to be a time where someone can convince me to read them. Because, yeah, I don't know. I've got very mixed emotions about possibly ever reading that series. So those are the ones that are in my collection, where I have pieces of them in my collection, and I'm a little hesitant to, you know, pick up and read. Those are my reasons for them. You know, if you want to try and change my mind on any of them, you're more than welcome to try. So like, subscribe, comment, all of those great things, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.